What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Ton of moves happened last week, and now we're in a new week, and we know a whole bunch of moves are setting up as we speak. So that being said, we got to be prepared so that we can capitalize on as much profits as possible. If you're ready, let's get right into the charts. Let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are on gold right now. I've stripped off everything, removed all types of chart markups, alerts, all of it, because we're going to start from scratch. We're going to start from the very top. You know how we do a top-down analysis, and let's break this down to see what moves we can expect for the week to come. Start with the weekly, and on the weekly, we can see that we are approaching an area of resistance, or pretty much we're at this area of resistance over here. So it's funny because there's two main areas of resistance when we look at the weekly, and it's at one of them right now. Okay, so although this was a long wick and the body closed along this area of resistance, when you talk about this particular candle over here, it still got to this area of resistance. So there's a higher resistance level up here. We're gonna extend that all the way across. And as we come down, there's another area of resistance right over here, which is where current price is hovering around. Okay, so that's what we are looking at. Just gonna move that up a little bit, but that's our area of resistance right there. As we break this down further and we look at lower time frames, let's see if we're getting some kinds of reversal patterns, some kind of signs to show that price is reversing, or could we possibly get it breaking through the zone. Okay, so let's go down to the daily. So on the daily, we have a clear uptrend, but if you look very closely, it looks like in this area over here, price is losing a little bit of momentum. And why this is important is because it looks like this on the daily, but as we go to lower time frames, this could possibly be the start of a reversal pattern. But we need to continue to break this down to see. Again, what I like to do as I'm on the higher time frames is look for areas of support and resistance. So that's my main thing. I want to highlight all areas of support and resistance. So we see price came up here and was not able to get past there. There was a big drop. And if we extend that across, we actually see that that became an area of support for price. So previous resistance over here and current support right over here for price, right? So we're gonna continue breaking this down. Obviously, we also have another area of support where price settled right over here, and we'll also extend that across just in case we get any big moves for the week. Let's go to the 4 hours, see what other zones we could find. Now on the 4 hour, it's much clearer that we are within these two zones. So we have some consolidation going on between these two zones. And there are multiple ways of looking at this as well. So going to a higher level time frame, right? Going to a higher level time frame, we know that this area of resistance comes from the weekly and the daily, and if you look left, you see that it has created a double top. So this is confluence for a move to the downside. Now let's see what other types of confluence we can find. If we are looking closely at the 4 hour, what you'll see is from this area of resistance over here, we had this area, price came to this area of resistance, and it also formed another double top in that area of resistance. So remember, from the higher time frame, there is a big double top, right? So from here, we have a touch here, and we have a touch here on the weekly. But as we go down to the 4 hour, there's also a smaller double top that has formed, extra confluence for another move to the downside. So as you have all these types of confluences, then you're also looking at market structure, and market structure is also aligning itself for a move to the downside. So if we look closely, we got an impulsive move from one zone to the other. And now this whole thing here is a retest. All right, you're getting a retest over here. So now this is gearing up as it looks for a move to the downside, for a good big push to the downside. So now if I'm looking for this whole move to play out, then I'm looking for where are my TPs now. So my TPs are gonna be significant areas of support. So this over here was a significant area of support as it was an area of resistance in the past. This level right here, right? This level, area of resistance right here, also an area of support over here. That could be a TP1, right? Especially for a swing trader. If I'm looking for TP2, your TP2 could be right over here, okay? You had an area of resistance right over here previously, and it also showed you an area of support as it came back around. Okay, so this could be your TP2. Your TP3, your next area of support is going to be right over here. This is your next area of support, your TP3. And your TP4, plenty of room for that. But if you want, you can go all the way down to the zone, or if you want to just play it cautious, you could just take it right over here where it seemed like there was a little bit of settling for price. But that would be your TPs for this long-term move, as it looks like we may get a push to the downside. Now, obviously, if we get a push to the upside, then things are looking very good for the upside. Then we have, if we look to the left-hand side on the daily, we have this range to make up on the daily, and that is a range of about 530 pips. So that's plenty of room to make money even if we don't break downwards. So if we break to the upside, we have a clear-cut path to the upside. Just have to wait for a retest, right? If we break through, again, wait for that retest and then move on to the upside. And of course, watch that on a lower time frame. But for what we're looking at in terms of market structure and how the market looks like it's starting to gear up here, we're looking at these possible scenarios. And if we start to break down, then this could be main areas that you can capitalize on. So if we're looking at these TPs from where current price is to the first TP, we have about 280 pips. From where price is to our TP2 is about 500 pips. From where price is to TP3, we're talking about 700 pips. And going all the way to TP4, if we go way further than that, you are talking about 1,350 pips. That is a lot that will transform your account. Not to say all of this is going to happen all in 1 week, but it's not impossible. It can happen all in 1 week. But either way, it's all about market structure and making sure you're understanding on a long-term perspective what price is gearing up to do. Okay, so watch these moves for the long term. Depending on what price wants to do, you can definitely find ways to get most of the move. If you're a scalper, obviously you want to break this down even further. There are areas in which you could take this and look for lower levels of support and resistance. So this, for example, could be an area of support right here. And if price breaks through this area, again, for scalpers, price breaks through this area, I'm just looking for a retest to ride this down to match that range to the left-hand side until I get to this area of support over here. So if I'm gonna ride this down as a retest, that's still over 70 pips for me to collect on, way more than enough for any scalper. So there's moves again within the smaller time frames for scalpers, and there's overall moves in the higher time frame for intraday and swing traders. Okay, so if we get a break to the upside, similarly, okay, this was an area of resistance. Price has struggled to break this area. So if we get a solid break in that area, same thing. Okay, we get a solid break of that area, wait for that retest, and then you take that trade upwards. All right, so that is what we're looking at for gold. Be prepared, set your alerts, and be sure that you don't miss a thing. All right, so let's move on to US 30 now. Now, I left the drawings on US 30 so you could see the masterpiece that happened last week as we marked this up. Look how price followed the exact markup that I had for last week. All right, so US 30, it took some time now. It took some time for this to happen. But once it broke out of this zone, as this is last week's markup here, once we broke out of this zone, what happened here? We broke out of the zone right over here. And then exactly as the markup says, we got to retest right back to the zone on the T, right on the dot. Barely any drawdown if you followed the markup, right? And you would have just rolled this to the upside. Even if you rolled this to the first initial area of resistance, you're talking about 200 pips here, 200 pips. And then it retested, never broke the previous low, right? Came up here, retested, never broke this previous low over here, was still solid for the overall move. So if you really took this move from how it was marked up from this area all the way to this area where price ended up, we're talking about over 600 pips. That would have been your move for the week. Okay, so that was US 30 last week. This is a new week, so what can we expect? We don't need to throw away all of these drawings because they're still applicable, but let me clean this up just a little bit for you guys. All right, so now we are approaching the area of resistance that we see to the left-hand side. We are approaching this area of resistance over here. Now, as we approach this area of resistance, what's gonna matter is how price action is looking at that area. Are we gonna get some kind of ascending channel? You understand? which is a sign of a reversal pattern as we approach the zone, or are we going to just blast straight through this zone and then wait for a retest and then continue to the move upwards? That's what you need to pay attention to, and that's why you want to set alerts, okay guys? So set alerts around this area of resistance over here. Now, if for any reason price breaks down, then let's see what happens as it approaches this area of resistance, okay? So if I am scalping this, there are smaller moves that I can look forward to, of course. Now, if price starts to break down, I'm looking at this area as an area of support. If price breaks down and gets past this area, of course, wait for that retest, and I'm looking for this whole range over here to capitalize on. If we calculate how many pips that is, we're talking about over 200 pips, more than enough for even a intraday swing trader. Okay, so it's all about setting the alerts. Okay, go down to lower time frames, break this down even further. But if we're talking about the long-term perspective, looking at the daily, looking at the 4-hour, we are still bullish so far. So we had a strong bullish move. So now we can anticipate that we may be getting a retest at some point. So if we are getting a retest at some point, let me clean this up. If we're getting a retest at some point when we're talking about the higher time frame, all that means on the lower time frame is it's going to look like a reversal. So that being said, yes, we may get that push up here to that area of resistance, but that might be the time where we get that rejection on the lower time frame, which will look like more than likely a retest on a higher time frame, and then we can capitalize on that. All right, so just got to watch, guys. Again, it's multiple time frame analysis. It's understanding higher time frame versus lower time frame, and it's really understanding where I should be setting my alerts, which should be all around areas of support and resistance, just so you know when price is breaking out of a zone or another. All right, so that's what it is. Clear moves that could be setting up for the week to come. Just got to watch it, just got to be prepared, and that we should be all good. All right, so if you want me to mark up more charts, let me know in the comments, guys. I'll be happy to do so. Let me know what you want me to mark up, and we can do that and add it to our list for our weekly outlook. All right, guys, so I hope you gain value in this video. I hope you crush it next week, and I can't wait to see the profits. All right, Jordan Meister, until next time. Peace.